Good morning, it's August 11th, and this is To My Liberal Friends. To pledge or not to pledge? And that is the question that has to be on the mind of all the Republican candidates and should also be on the minds of the voters. This is a tricky question. The only reason that it's ever being discussed surrounds one person, Donald Trump. In a normal political year, I think all the candidates would pledge to support the winner and try to help that person win the presidency. But enter Donald Trump. And if you recall, he's not been big on pledging support for any candidate that does not give him undying and total support. If you want some examples, I would only refer you to the multiple people that he's hired in his administration, extolled their attributes and talents, and then when they had the temerity to disagree with him on some policy, he fired them, that's his right, and attacked them in the most vicious and personal manner. That's not his right. Better examples are what we witnessed in the midterm elections. Any Republican candidate, no matter how strong they might be in the polls, who did not buy into Trump's election denial theories, found Trump seeking someone that would show fealty to him and then support that candidate to the detriment of the Republican winning the seat. That scenario played out especially strong in Pennsylvania, where David McCormick was a strong candidate to win the open seat being vacated by Senator Pat Toomey, only to have Trump give his support to Dr. Mehmet Oz. The result was a candidate with a lot of baggage and someone like John Fetterman winning the seat. That same scenario played out in Arizona, Georgia, and Nevada, seats that Republicans could have won if Trump had stayed out of the primaries. But once again, Donald Trump demonstrated that the political arena is all about him and nobody else. The most classic example is from this summer. The Iowa governor, Kim Reynolds, pledged to remain neutral in the presidential race and attended events held in her state for multiple candidates. She made it plain she was not endorsing any one candidate, but simply representing the state of Iowa. Several other political leaders in Iowa made the same neutrality pledge. They wanted the people of Iowa to hold their caucuses and make that decision themselves, and that's been the practice of past governors of Iowa. But that was not good enough for Donald Trump. He went on the attack. Quote, "I opened up the governor's position for Kim Reynolds, and when she fell behind, I endorsed her, did big rallies, and she won," Trump wrote in the True Social post. "Now she wants to remain neutral. I don't invite her to events. De Sanctis down 45 points," end quote. Reynolds made the mistake in Trump's eyes of not bowing to him. The pledge or not to pledge puts the Republican Party in a bit of a bind. They've made this a requirement to participate in the upcoming debates, with the first one scheduled for August 23rd. The party had laid out some rules to be on the debate stage in an effort to make sure only viable candidates were in the debate and not just someone announcing. On June 2nd, the RNC announced criteria for inclusion in the first presidential debate scheduled for August 23rd in Milwaukee. The requirements were in four categories. First, the candidate has to be eligible for the presidency and have declared his or her candidacy. Second, the candidate has to meet polling standards, at least 1% support in 3 national polls or 1% in 2 national polls and 1 early state poll, provided all the polls meet RNC standards. Third, the candidate has to meet fundraising standards, a minimum of 40,000 unique donors, including at least 200 donors in at least 20 states. Then there was the final requirement. To be eligible to take part in the debate, having met all the above standards, a candidate must also sign a pledge agreeing to support the eventual party nominee. And that brings us to where we are today. Trump told an interviewer, quote, "Why would I sign that pledge? There are people on there I wouldn't have. They want you to sign a pledge, and I can name 3 or 4 people that I wouldn't support for presidents," end quote. Now I hear the term RINO thrown around a lot. It means Republican in name only. To the far right, anyone that does not totally toe the line they've drawn, they're described as RINOs. If you are a moderate in any way, you're characterized as a RINO. They would call Republican senators like Lisa Murkowski, Mitt Romney, John Thune, and some others as RINOs, and in the end they would rather vote them out of office and allow a Democrat to win just to prove their point. But if you're truly looking at Donald Trump, then you would realize that he epitomized the definition of a Republican name only. Trump is interested only in himself. He does not give any financial support to other Republicans, and now he's made it clear that the only Republican candidate for president that he would support is, you guessed it, Donald Trump. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening. If you appreciate the podcast or enjoy it, hit the subscribe button and recommend it to your friends. And if you have a comment, I'd like to hear from you.